You're not going to play the fucking sounds. That's what I thought you was going to do.
What's up?
This sounds like coming after.
Welcome.
Welcome to the future.
Yo, it's Friday.
Friday, guys.
Woo!
How's
Survived
everyone?
another week.
How's everyone doing?
I'm alive.
Yeah.
I'm here. Thank you
But-
all for playing little violins to me last week when I wasn't here. I'm going to appreciate that. In fact, everyone put a little violin in the chat. Just to know you care. I love it.
Violin. Ian is here.
Yeah, Ian's here. I just chatted a bit to him this morning. I have a message.
So first thing first, some housekeeping. Wes, Ash, what is the water cooler? Why are we here? What are we doing? What's what?
This wasn't in the script.
It is. It's right at the
Do we
bottom.
have a
It's a
do we have
small
a
print.
script?
It's a small print of the script.
So the
I
cooler.
am your
the cooler-
father, says Mark.
I
Yes.
love Mark. I knew he'd get straight away. So the coolers, as we all know, as people don't know, but for new viewers, listeners, the cooler's a place where we rock up, we meet people we don't know, and we learn something new. Simple as that. That's where the concept came from. But the problem, the point is, and the switch is that we actually don't announce the guests, so you have to rock up to the cooler, not knowing
Secret
who you're gonna talk
guest.
to, and you probably will learn something new. So that's pretty much how it rocks.
Wes, that was really well done without a script.
Enough for the buttons, guys.
For the ones that saw this video a couple of times, what is new here that Ash remembered the buttons to the sounds effect, so he's gonna bust everyone ears with the sounds throughout the live. But guys, what type of secret guests we had before? Where can they find it?
Come on,
You can go to YouTube, subscribe and like, comment, and Spotify, Apple, and it stays on LinkedIn as well. So,
And who we had before, because we had some terrific names.
Ooh, who have we had before? We've had the man himself, Martin Neumeyer, David Acker. We've had
Chris
Doe. We've had Rory Sutherland,
Roger Martin.
Simon Dixon.
Dixon batteries.
We had terrific guests, and as we always say, we always bring people to the show that are smarter than
A
us.
bit of a spoiler.
That's easy enough.
Bit of a spoiler. One of those is asked to come back on. Can you believe it?
Ooh. We didn't learn the lesson the first time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone in the chat, tell us where you're joining us. Tell us how
come on.
was your week from 1 to 99.9.
Wow,
Let us know
that's
how
a
it
big
was.
number.
Yes, how was your week from 1
Mine's
to
pretty good, but I'm coming out the other side. A little dip. I would say a good. If we're doing 1 to 99.9, I'm going to be like a 79.8.
Solid.
Right, it could have been better, you know.
Ash, mate?
Yeah, no, man was good. Man was good. I would probably say about 8, 9 actually.
That's low, bro.
89.
Out of 100.
Yeah, because it's just flown by. It's been busy. It's been lots to do. Every time in the office, like we said behind the scenes, everyone leaves the office when I get there. So, right, that suits me.
Yeah, I would also leave the office if I knew we were coming. Mine was 85.76, I think.
Okay,
Solid.
85.76. So you're going on like the micros, right there.
Yeah, I'm going. You know, and I think because of our next guest is also getting a bit incrementally better. You know, we still have a couple of days in the week, so
Yeah. We have a new guest. I've never seen this person in the chat called Austin. Really cool name. Sweet man, where you at? Let us know.
That's a good one. Happy Friday. It's already excited for Monday. That's good.
He must be loving his job.
Yeah, all weekends must be pretty crap.
Right. Anyway, guys, enough about bullshit. Let's get to it.
Let's go.
Yeah. Great topic today. Vulnerability is what we're going to be talking about. Vulnerability as a superpower, and I guess there's a lot of people still out there that think twice about, I guess, being vulnerable in public, specifically at work, with clients, with colleagues. But what if I told you a secret? And that secret is it actually helps you connect with people better. I think it helps you do your best possible work as well. I know for a fact it's true because, well, at least for me, I've experienced it. And I know these two in front of me have too. And today we've got an amazing strategist that has leaned into this as well throughout her career. So she's the director of a brand strategy at GMB, which is a marketing and brand firm for education in Greensville, South Carolina. She started off as a graphic designer and crossed to brand strategy nearly 10 years ago. And she's worked with brands from small businesses, startups, nonprofits, and now working with colleges and universities across the US. Please welcome on the show, Elliot Lawless.
Yay! The first go with the boy's name. Let's go. Love it.
I was a bit too late with that. A bit delayed.
It's okay. It still counts.
That's the story of your life, Ash, anyway. So
Pressing the buttons at the wrong time.
How ignore these two. Elliot, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for a lovely introduction. I'm doing well. I'm very happy it's Friday.
Yeah. It's also really early where you are and really late
Yes.
where we are. So we're definitely different moods, aren't we?
Yes, it's 11 a.m. My morning is still somewhat there. And then I'm actually taking the afternoon off. So it's going to be great. My in-laws are taking the kids for the night. So me and my husband have like some quality time that we get together.
Tell us more about that. Wrong show. Sorry.
Wait. But yeah, pumped for the weekend. It's going to be great. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
I wish I could say that this was going to be your highlight of a Friday, but yeah, probably
No,
not.
it definitely. I think it will be. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. Talked about it in therapy. I was very anxious about it, so y'all came up to my therapist. So just know that it's great. So she walked me through the whole thing. So I'm very prepared.
Trust me, you cannot be prepared enough for Wes. So I also tried with that with my therapist and said I can help you with everything but Wes. That was the end of the session. It was helpful enough.
So let's dig in on that. That's a nice little transition, Martin, because obviously I met this wonderful lady over LinkedIn. I can't really remember how we connected, but we did. It must have been through a mutual. We got chatting. And coincidentally, I did actually think I was going to talk to a boy called Elliot, and then the screen opened up, and this lovely lady was sat in front of me, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's a new one." Yeah. So, but let's dig in. Let's talk about your journey. I think it's always good to start. You know, when you kind of wandered into this world of strategy, and then let's work it back, and let's talk about, you know, how kind of vulnerability has become a superpower on the way.
For sure.
Kick it off.
Yeah. So career-wise, I graduated college in 2012, and it was not a great time for jobs. I had been to school for graphic design and public relations, so I loved writing. I loved designing, and so I started off as a freelancer, and I just had a lot of odd jobs. But I knew that I loved to put visuals to what people were trying to do. And so I, over the course of time, built a business. And then in 2016, 17, I launched my own business. I had a business partner, and then we had other creatives as well. But we were doing brand identity design for small businesses and startups and nonprofits. And then I did that for about 5 years, ended up going on my own with that. And I kind of fell into strategy from there. I kept getting feedback from clients that was really off the wall. You know, we would go through these intake sessions together and go through what they like and what they didn't like and what they were looking for and the meaning of their business and how it got started. And then when we went to present designs, their feedback was just kind of out of left field. And so that's the point of where I fell into strategy, is because I wanted my work to be backed by truth. You know, I wanted for us to agree upon something about where they were at, what it represented, and then design from there. And so that's when my business launched into brand strategy and brand identity design. And I did that for a few years, had children, did the whole thing, and then decided I didn't need to work for myself anymore. It was too much pressure. Y'all know the story of that. It's a lot. And so balancing that with my family in that season of life is just really tough. So I went agency side, worked with a small agency here in Greenville that was great. It was startups for the hardware industry. So I did brand strategy for a lot of those clients, and then have now the past 3 years been at GMB where I am now. They are based out of Michigan, but we have offices in Greenville, Indianapolis, and we brand colleges and universities. But we're also an architecture and engineering firm. So we do K through 12 and higher ed. It's a bit of an enigma from a company, but it's really awesome. If you have 2 hours, I can talk to you about it at some point. But it's been really great crossover, learning a lot from architects and engineers and how to implement that in brand strategy as well. So really cool. I love where I am right now. I have an amazing team that I work with. And yeah, so that's where I'm at now.
Can I just ask, when you left your business, that you've created to go full time, obviously you did it for the right reasons, but was there any part of it that you like really scared about or regretted once you did do it?
Yeah, it was really emotional. It was a really hard thing to let go of. And I think there was like a grieving process that I had to go through because I felt like I didn't get it to where it needed to go. And so there was this fear of failure that I felt that I had. But, it didn't fail. I just needed to move in a different direction. And I've always told myself I can come back to that. It doesn't have to be a forever thing. But yeah, it was definitely a very hard move.
And do you ever, hope your employers ain't watching, but do you ever feel like that's what you might do?
Maybe.
Do you ever have those thoughts again? Like,
yeah, absolutely. I think, later down the road, there's so much that I'm still learning now that I'm like, man, if I had known this in my business before, this would have been great, because my journey is a little bit backwards. When you start as an entrepreneur, there's so much that you haven't learned about the inside of the agency world, that now there's so much of the business component that I can take with me. And then the client interaction as well. I think there's more formalities that I could take with me that I had no clue about before.
Is there anything like that you brought in from your entrepreneur kind of spirit into your day job now? Going
I feel like I am the squeakiest wheel there is, no matter what agency I'm at, because, and it's good that I'm at a little bit smaller agencies because they're open to this, but I'm just like so in the business development weeds where I am not, that is not my position, but I am like, what if we do this? And what if we do this? And we can develop this service offering and do this. And I can see this coming out of here. And they're probably like, Elliot, this is not your job. Like, just do your brand thing. But it's something that I love and it comes naturally to me. And so I have been able, in both agencies, and again, it's because they're smaller, they really have welcomed me into different circles, to where I am obviously doing brand, but I do have internal focuses of the business where I can, work with other teammates to help develop things or push them further. And that's been pretty awesome. I'm lucky to have that outlet, I think.
So I'm going to get straight into the topic now. Like, when did this whole journey start? Like the vulnerability and being vulnerable, and why did it start? What was the impetus, and then how did it help you or not at the start? I don't know. I don't really know much about your story, so this is good.
Yeah, it started so the day my mother gave birth to me. I swear, I am an emotional human, and I was just born this way. I spent my whole life wondering what is wrong with me. Why am I connected so deeply to things? Why do I feel so deep about everything? And I was just told to dry it up my whole life. Like, stop crying about it. Stop doing this. Like, you don't need to feel that way. And I tried to turn it off my whole life, and disconnect. And so I've been in therapy for the past 6 years, and I'm learning who I am for the first time. So I think I was like disconnecting myself from who I am my whole life. And then have started leaning into, no, this is who I am. And it's actually a really beautiful thing. But I've been scared of it because I've been misunderstood my entire life. And that is such a legitimate fear. And I think you brought that up earlier, Ash, like it is such a misunderstood thing to be vulnerable. But I don't know how to not be open with people, right? There's like a difference between oversharing, which is like a trauma response, and then being vulnerable. And so there's definitely a line there that I've learned, but it's just opening up to people. Like, I need to let it out, and it's not like dumping, but it is letting you know where I'm at and who I am, and just level setting with you. And I think a lot of it is I need to recognize that I'm talking to another human being. Like, I need to know that I can connect with this person, that they are relatable, that we have something in common. And it's not just they're really good at this one thing, or we're talking about this, or it really is just that human perspective that I feel like I need to share with people in order to have a conversation. So I am very awkward at times when it comes to connecting with other people, because if they're not willing to be like that with me, then, I'm over here, kind of just letting things out with no response.
I was gonna ask you that actually. Do you feel like there's only a select type of people that you're willing to do that? Like, obviously, when you meet people, do you have to see that openness from them at least, or are you the first to instigate it, and because that's the way you are now?
I probably should be more hesitant in that way, and like in reading that, but for the most part, I'm just very comfortable of just, saying the thing or whatever it is, and letting them see a human side of me for a second. And sometimes it's received and sometimes it's not. And that's when I have to laugh later when I'm thinking about it for the next 2 weeks of how awkward that scenario was. But then I have to bring myself back and just be like, well, that was me kind of putting myself out there, and it wasn't received, and that's okay.
So when did that change happen? So when did you realize, that you killed that part of you for a really long time, and then it was okay, or you had to, reconnect back with it?
I think that's only happened in the past couple years. That I'm a mother. My oldest is 6 years old. And for me, that changed everything. I think that's when I felt most disconnected from myself I've given myself to this other human, and like so fully, and I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know what things I like. I don't know what I like to do. And I've just struggled with what is my identity for a really long time. And I felt in the past couple of years, I've finally started to come to terms with like, I am an emotional being that cares deeply for people. And I have a lot of experiences that it's not like I just want people to know about, but I think have helped shaped the way that I look at the world and see other people and understand their circumstances. And I think that is a gift. And for a long time, it was just such a burden.
Yeah, that's a good word actually. It's a bird. it's like that those masks and the guards that you put on, it's a distraction, isn't it? It's a
Yeah.
distraction. Like you're just focusing on that, and when you actually start being vulnerable and you actually lean into it, you learn so much more about yourself, and it's just like it's
Yeah.
another level altogether. It's like you really do reach another
Mm.
the potential that you probably never thought you would,
Yeah.
and it's just a little tweak like to of realization.
Elliot,
Mhm.
Elliot, like, you know, you mentioned this like word or term like finding yourself. Like for people like that are in the chat or listening in that may be in a similar scenario that you were or you are now. I'm an emotional person too, you know this. Um, what did you do besides therapy? Like, what did you do in yourself to help try and discover the real you? Like, what
Yeah.
did you put in place,
Mm.
or who around you was helping you through that? Let's just
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah, definitely my spouse and my family have been a huge help in that. And even, my coworkers have been so wonderful in helping me balance that. I've had a lot of really good mentors who have just come alongside me and been I think there was like a confidence building piece to that too, right? Like, because not knowing who you are or trying to figure that out was just and still is like this identity crisis or this imposter syndrome that we all talk about and know about. And I mean, even before, Wes, we talked about coming on the show, I think like back in November. And I have literally been thinking about this since. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, the people who have been on the show, like, why did he ask me to do this? This is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like,
I've been on
and
the show with you. I've seen you change. I remember our first call when we were talking about you
yeah,
wanting to talk to this female leader in an agency, and I was just like, just go do it. Just what are you going to lose? I remember talking to you, like pep
yeah,
talking you. You know,
yeah. Yeah, and you've been like such a huge advocate for me, and a mentor in that capacity of just, um, yeah, helping me figure it out and be confident in myself. I think people really make that difference. There's a lot of introspectiveness that has to happen as well, but you can only do that for so long before it turns back and you start beating yourself up again if you're too introspective. At least I do. But it's been, being open to people about it. I think just talking about, hey, this is where I'm at. I've got a group of girlfriends. There's 6 of us that have been friends since we were, 13. And they've played a huge role in that for me as well. So it really is people. And, it is being vulnerable and saying, hey, this is where I'm at. For people to help build you up. You need that community for
and
sure.
how do you start to kind of behave and portray that to people that you don't know that are going to be
Mhm.
important in your life? So like, let me put it in a way. Like, if you go for a job interview,
Mhm.
is that something that you say up front and you try and break that in early so these people aren't shocked once you get in the room, or are these the type of people they're looking for? Like, how have you built that into your day
Yeah.
to day?
I think a good example is about a year and a half ago, I got a new boss and I was just really nervous about like, okay, what's she going to come in and do? I mean, she's had over 30 years experience in higher ed. And I'm like, this woman is just so far above me and it's great. And I'm excited to learn from her, but I'm also nervous. I know she's a pretty dominant person. And so, am I going to be able to, is she going to be micromanaging me? Is she going to allow me to kind of do my thing? And um, one of the first, she was like, I want to have a one-on-one with you and just get to know you a little bit. And the first thing I was like, listen, I need you to know that I have mental illness and I really like struggle with that. And I do my best not to bring it into my work, but there's like a big confidence piece that I'm working on. And right away, I mean, she just, I was like, I don't know how this woman's going to perceive this. Like, I don't know what's about to happen. And it could have been a really unsafe space.
Yeah.
But, my job was secure at that point. And so I felt comfortable enough that, she's kind of coming in, I'm already established. And And right away, I mean, she has probably been one of the key people that have changed my career and the way that I do my work. And she very much took that on as encouraging me and loving me through my work and building me up and giving me hard feedback, like not holding back at all. But but just shaping me in the way that I do my work. And so that's been huge. And so I think letting them know, there's a line, right? You can't just come out and say these things all the time. I had a safe space, so I was able to say that. But I remember in the job interview, just being like, all right, compose yourself. Don't let anything slip. You are professional. You have this. Let's go. It's that internal pep talk. And then I think naturally, once those relationships build, you get a safe space for it to flow out. But there is that buildup typically that has to happen.
Cool.
It's crazy, because like I know all our 3 stories, right? I know that to us something happened, and then he went down the route. To Ash, something happened, he went down the route. To me, something happened, I went down the route. I woke up in the back of an ambulance twice, and then I realized that what's going on inside your brain has such an effect on your body as well. Isn't that too fucking late? Like, I think like we are so brainwashed since we are a little bit more than embryons to suck it up, to man it up, to women it up, to just put it down, and then we struggle for such a long time, and then boom, something happened, and we have to face it. Why is that? Like, why do we live in such a culture where vulnerability is not taught?
Yeah. Well, it's shown as weakness, right? It's like, oh, wow, this person is struggling. Like, I can't believe they would say something, right? It's like, well, they must not have it together, or, there's such a stigma around it. And I think that's, we were talking about Brene Brown a little bit earlier, and I think that was the first time I ever heard somebody call it courageous. And I was like, oh, snap, look at me. Like, I'm actually really courageous. I'm not weak. I just talk about it. Like, you have it. Everybody has it too.
Everybody has it.
And that's the irony, isn't it? It actually takes so much strength to talk about things like this. Like, you have to really build that strength up. Like, you have to find it from somewhere to talk about it, because most people are scared to really talk the real talk.
Yeah.
It's
I heard this the other day, and it's like most people are just fearful of failing publicly. And I think that's part of it, right? And you have to realize that not that many people care, or they're not watching you in the way that you think they are. But it's that fear of doing it in public, right? Of saying I'm, that I'm failing at whatever this is. It's affecting my job, it's affecting my marriage, or, whatever part of your life. And it's not true. And I think that's, I don't know, just such a huge part of it is saying that it's not failure. It's just kind of part of my journey. But we're afraid for people to see us like that.
I had a question written down that relates into that, and I was thinking, is there a correlation between like the rise and the openness of social platforms that make everything open, everything kind of vulnerable in that respect? But like, is this sense of like social pressure like adding people's vulnerability? Do you know, like is there a correlation in those two things happening? Right,
the comparison, isn't it? The comparison with the others.
And I see it more and more on social, and I really love it. I love when it happens. I think people will weaponize it at times, and you have to be careful about that. But it is when I see it, that's what I'm attracted to, because I know that person is I mean, relatable. So their business is relatable and their work is relatable because now I know what goes into it. You know, I can see the whole human aspect behind it. But it's true, like, and it's funny on social, like I deleted my LinkedIn app the other day. I was like, I got to get this off here. Like, I don't know what to do anymore. And I go in these ebbs and flows of like, what do I even say? And how am I, you know, coming across? And it's like, I have this fear of all of these people are watching me, and it's really just not that true. Right. Like it's not everybody is paying that close attention to what you're doing. And it's really just you overthinking it. But that vulnerability piece is just I continuously still get afraid to do it. You know, that never really goes away. So yeah.
It's interesting because there is also a flip side of social media. I think social media now, there are buckets, as you said, where people are sharing stories and they're being vulnerable. There is the toxicity of weaponizing it as well, as you said, people jumping on it as a trend. But there's also the flip side of what I was alluding before. I thought Wes was going with that angle of you know, comparing yourself is a source of unhappiness, right? You always see how other people are, you know, much happier, they're successful, and you only see the front end of that as well. So I think you know, my question is twofold. You know, how much do you think it's coming from there, but also the other one I wanted to see from your perspective, because I know from mine as well. I know the answer from mine, obviously, and I want to compare it with yours. You know, how much from the parenting side also impacted that, and you being a mother as well. You know, if you did realize that, and if you are trying to address that from a mom's perspective as well.
Yeah. There's a lot of that plays into it. You know, being a working mom affects every part of, you know, my kids are out of school today, and so I'm working, and I'm just like, okay, you know, what am I going to do? And sometimes they can run around while I'm up here, and sometimes I have to be down there, and I think it is a huge, you just have to share space, right? Like you can never 100% be on, I think, in either way. And so learning how to navigate that, and that's just part of life, you know, as a parent. And I think people understanding that about, yeah, people understanding about how that dictates how you work. But in the beautiful scheme of things, like that's what makes my work so good on so many other levels, is because I see, you know, I have these examples of my children able to teach me things and see through eyes of a child. And especially in brand, I mean, that brings a whole new, like, fresh perspective of how to be playful and how to be lighthearted and how to see things in a different way. And I think it brings a lot of light to my work. Um, the other day, I saw my kids were climbing a tree, and I was like, man, I haven't climbed a tree in, man, I don't know how long. So I took my phone up there and I climbed a tree and I answered some emails. And I was like, yeah, this is how you got to do it, you know? And, and I think just bringing that playfulness into your life again is healthy. My kids have helped me do that for sure.
You know, like you talked about this crossover into strategy. Like, what do you think? Like, from your vulnerable life, do you bring into your strategy journey?
There's a lot of things, and I mean, it's just little things that I love. You know, I love a magazine, and so I love looking at, you know, beautiful photos. The Architectural Digest is one that that's the kick that I'm on right now, and just seeing the different designs, but also seeing the ads in there. I love seeing print ads and how they're placed, and then, you know, going back and I talk to my team about things that I see, and I'll send them pictures and just be like, you know, wondering about the insights that it took to get there. Like, look at that copy and how, you know, it's not only how it's stated, but how it's placed. There's a lot of that I see. And I get a lot of them from advertising just in general. I love, whether I'm on social or watching TV or whatever, getting that a lot of that inspiration there, but, um, it also comes from just being outside and looking at things, and I love nature documentaries. There's a lot of stuff that I glean from nature documentaries. You know, how these fish build their nest and prepare them for a mate and the way that they move in order to attract them and, you know, and I think those are like the coolest things because there's so much intricacy and to see, especially in nature documentaries, the way that animals are connected to each other and how they rely on each other is I think I bring that back to strategy all the time of how you have to relate to your audiences and every single thing is your brand is dependent on every single one of these audience types. And so you can't have this without that. And so being able to bring that into things, that's the weird way my brain works, but
I love that. It's almost like you're allowing yourself to explore towards
Mhm.
unpaved directions, right? So without constraints, it's almost like you allowed yourself to be yourself emotionally, and that allowing yourself to be yourself also comes to work. So lifting the
Yeah.
barriers and just flowing into different directions and picking things up along the way.
Yeah. There's this, I'll go off on a small tangent. There's this blue ring octopus, right? That's like super poisonous. And they're like this big. They're tiny. They can fit in your hand. But like if it touches you, I mean you die. Like it's the craziest thing. But it changes colors and it's called some type of pigmentation where it's the ability to, you know, camouflage.
Mhm.
But when it's in its vulnerable state, it lights up with these blue rings. And it's a warning. It's a warning sign to its predators. Um, but that's what allows it to, you know, defend itself.
Mm,
And I see this like and it's this tiny thing, but it's so powerful, like enough to kill a human in one touch. And so I thought about it. I work with these small liberal arts colleges that are just like you wouldn't know about them unless you knew about them, if that makes sense. You know, they're in a small town. Unless you're in that region or looking for a very specific program, you probably don't know about it. But like this one college that I'm working with has one of the top ranked like independent study programs that they're ranked next to Princeton. And I'm like, look at this. It's like this blue ring octopus, man. It can like, you know, it comes to you and it's so tiny, but it's so powerful. And the way it prepares its students for grad school and a career. And it's like, that's what we have to talk about. You know, those are the things that we need to pull out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's maybe a weird connection, but
It's
I
I,
a
love it.
beautiful connection. I love this shit. I think we are connections are great strategies. You know, I think some people are so stuck into their backyard that they forget that there is a whole world out of that backyard. And sometimes all you have to do is just smell it and just go
yes.
wild randomly and bring it back home. Because like one of the biggest mistakes that brands do is just being stuck in their fucking category, looking at the top three and replicating, ending up hiding, not branding.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. And I think that's a huge part of it is I have to tell my clients all the time, like, what you think is holding you back, like your rural location that you think is holding back is actually a really beautiful thing. Like, that's something that we need to draw out and we need to talk about it.
Love
Um,
that. Feature it, right?
yeah,
Embrace it.
it's like, don't hide it, don't push it in the background, like, your small town is actually amazing, that's how community is formed, you know, you get to know everybody, and that's also, like, you're not everyone is going to be a right fit student. Not everybody is going to be a right fit client for you. So you don't want that unfit customer anyway. And
Mm,
so if they can understand that this is something that you are and you tout it rather than hiding it away, like you're going to attract that right fit customer
mm,
um, to what you're doing. And I think we have to be willing to say the things that we believe make us weak when in reality that would be very attractive.
It's
to
unique, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's part of their what they are, and I think I love that, and I think I loved how you bridge that personal freedom to embrace what you really are, no matter what, and the brands can do the same. It takes me back to the definition of personal branding in a way, which the first word is personal, right? So everyone has those little quirks, those little weirdness, and I've been an immigrant of my life, and for a long portion of my life, I always wanted to hide it because I just wanted to be a normal kid coming from that town. And it took me a long time to understand that all those little weirdness, all those little quirks make myself, and brands can and should embrace that versus trying to be someone else. It's an incredible comparison, a personal vulnerability and company vulnerability. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Elliot, you've obviously been through this journey, and us three we're all going through this, still going through this journey. It's not like it ends, right?
Yeah. Right.
But what kind of tips and advice could you give people, if anything, or like is it just something that is a realization or something that happens to them that it happens, or is there something that they can turn this kind of fear into a superpower?
I think, don't be afraid to embrace it and to feel it, whatever it is that it is, like, that you're afraid of or fearful of or don't want somebody to know about. Like, don't think about it, like sit on it, and don't be afraid to, just sit in it and start to think about ways that it actually is a beautiful thing, right? Because most things are, and that's the beautiful thing about brand, is like it can be both this thing and this thing at the same time. And I think being able to find that healthy balance. So like for me, it's like I don't want to be afraid to feel. I feel deeply, and I don't want to be afraid of that because it's a gift that I'm able to take on the feelings of another person. Now that can also come to my detriment, so I need to be careful. And that's where that identity crisis comes in, right? I've taken on so much of other people that I don't know who I am, and so it's kind of figuring that out. But use it to your good. I mean, there is a good and a bad to everything. There's a positive and a negative to everything.
And you could also reframe those things as well, right? So like,
Absolutely.
example, a well-known one is lean into failure, like make more things
Yes.
and fail more. And that's the thing, like it's what is failure really, like
Yeah. It's
like
just a learning point, right?
exactly, that's a reframe there.
Yeah, exactly. And I think reframing, and that's what brand strategy is. It's reframing. When we come in and work with companies, we're not telling them something that they don't know. Like, you know what I mean? We do our intake sessions, we do these insights, and we get to know them through all these sessions. And it's like everything that we are developing is what you told me.
I love that. It was there, Sometimes
Yeah.
I like to explain like archaeology, that golden nugget was there, was always there. Perhaps at some point was on the layer one of the earth, but throughout all the corporate history, whatever, more layers gone on top of it. And then what we're doing, we're just digging it. I absolutely love that. And it's so true.
Yeah. Yeah, and I tell that to clients all the time, and I'm like, we're building this thing, but you told me that. Like I didn't like you
We
said
said
it.
so
I
many
just,
times in a workshop, like I'm just relating back to what you told me. Like,
yep,
I mean, I
exactly.
might be in a different accent or I might articulate it differently, but you told me this shit. Like, and the shock on their face is crazy. Like,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I know.
Right, so come on, let's move into a bit more about you. Come on, tell us
The hard part is coming.
tell us something that we don't know. Come on, like the last time we asked this question, Roger Martin told us he loved reggae, and we went on this whole reggae it was class. But come on, tell us something. Tell the audience something that even if they may not know, they may know you, they don't know. Go on, tell us something.
Okay. Well, y'all know I love nature documentaries now, and
I'm just like David Attenborough, like going through
so there's that. I Let's see. I've recently come back into my love for music
Mhm.
and am starting to longboard again. So these are two new things for me that
Do that.
I used to love doing and haven't done in a long time.
So on the
Why,
subject,
why did you fall out of love with music then?
and the
You
long,
know, I think once I came out of college, I didn't know how to find music anymore.
just
And then Spotify, that is like one of the one things that I couldn't live without. I don't think. And it's helped me discover new music, but I was kind of on a kick for a couple years where I only listened to music that I grew up with because it was like the only
Yeah,
thing
I
I
know.
knew.
Yeah.
So I have this playlist called Mama Music, and it was like all the songs that we would listen to in the car. You know, it was the songs that remind me of my mom, and it's like really good rainy day music. But I used to go to a lot of music festivals, and I like was very much that person. And I have realized how much I really do love like these jam bands and things that I haven't like. I don't know. I've been a part of for a long time. And I think a lot of that is having kids too, of like there's a lot of things that I don't partake in anymore that I used to. And being in big crowds is one of them. Um, and I think but I've gotten back to the love of that music.
what are you
Rather
listening to right now? What's that?
Right now, I'm on a Dead and Company kick. That's been a really big one for me, that I used to love and, just kind of gleaned away from for a little bit. But just that kind of music that, a song can be like 14 minutes long and you don't even notice because it's just, you're flowing with it and it's really good. I don't know. I don't do good with fun facts, y'all.
Come on, like what song do you sing in the shower?
Oh,
Come
well,
on.
that would be Celine Dion, of course. You have to belt, right? You have to.
Near, far,
It
wherever
was
you are.
I was sitting in the Starbucks parking lot the other day, and I was like, "All right, before I get out, I gotta sing." I sang that like 100%, like belted out to the.
Not better than me, though.
Is that
Yeah,
your rally cry?
I don't think so. Part of me wishes I could sing so good, like I wish I could be just this person with this powerful, like belting voice. It's in there somewhere. It doesn't come out very beautifully, but
Let us know when it comes.
yeah, my dog hears it all the time. Like,
So now, last question. Ash's favorite, but like we like to ask our audience a question, or our guest a question for us. Really, have you got anything you want to ask us on the fly? No. Yeah. Thinking. No.
She's hating it.
Did you hear what Wes said?
oh, I thought you were asking the audience.
No,
Sorry.
that's
Oh, no.
that's the question.
Fair enough. He did fuck that up. That
Yeah,
part.
yeah. To be fair,
Sorry, I'm like sitting waiting for the chat to happen.
yeah. She was waiting for the horn to go off. Should I do it?
Yeah,
No.
that's
Don't.
right. All right,
Do it.
I'm ready this time.
Okay. Okay. Have you got any questions you want to ask us? We love.
Oh, any questions?
Ash loves it.
Let's see. I want to know. I mean, I know we don't have a lot of time, but I want to hear a really quick, like, what is your vulnerability story? I want to hear.
Where are we gonna go with this? This is heavy.
This is gonna be this could take another hour.
Right?
Ash has the best one. I
Yeah,
think.
go on, Ash.
No, we all do, man. Like,
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
What-
Martin,
what-
But I
you
love your
were
story.
in an ambulance. So
Yeah,
and
twice.
that was a big wake up call for you.
True.
Yeah.
yeah,
well,
literally.
actually, you know what? All of our stories, vulnerability stories, actually connected us in some way together, didn't they? They were like themes, not exact details, but the themes of.
Well,
like,
Ash, your LinkedIn journey, because
Yeah,
of your
so-
transformation,
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
reason we are here.
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, mine
Yes.
was that it took me up until I'm 46 now, 46, 47, I forget. I've
Really, I
stopped
thought
counting.
16, mate.
But it took me until my 40s to actually realize that I was not me, right? And the thing for that was my skin color changing. So and that really impacted me mentally. And then I did this LinkedIn post about it. It was like almost a therapeutic post, and that went viral. I obviously didn't intend it to, and that was like a bit scary when I opened up my laptop and saw all of these, like comments and stuff, but the DMs flooding in, words that kind of showed me that the power of vulnerability and story can also positively impact others, because they were now people there talking how it inspired them, and they were ready to share their story and ready to be themselves. And that was really, that changed the trajectory of, like, in terms of what I do online. I was quite private person online. I'd only use it for work and stuff, but now, I share away. And but this is the thing, actually. I do, like, we talked about weaponizing. Like, do you? I wanted to ask you this earlier on, but it passed. But I'll ask you now. The whole weaponizing thing, like, everyone also now jumping on the bandwagon and creating contrived stories for attention because it's the trend and popular. Does that ever stop you from sharing? Because it does sometimes me. I feel like, am I being one of those?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
I think that's put a big pause to things. I don't post like nearly as frequently as I used to, because I'm scared of that. Like, I don't want it to look like everything's hard all the time, right? Because it's not.
No, yeah.
And I don't think I would phrase it in that way, but I think I'm scared of people's perception of it, right? That it's just like this person,
That's it,
a
yeah.
whining person, if
Yeah.
you will, even though I know I wouldn't frame it in that way, but it would just come off as woe is me. And because of all of these things that come out that you see, you've got influencers crying over whatever, CEOs crying because they had to let people go. And I think in some ways that was a real thing, right? That's a real emotion. But it is also like, I don't know, it is weaponizing to a point, right? Because you have to think about who it's affecting too. And I don't want to come across that way. So it definitely holds me back.
Yeah,
sure.
me too. But then I do sometimes realize that those stories that I do want to share, you just know when they're the truth. You just say it, right?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, and I think what is fascinating about the Dasha story, that, like, if he would have not done that single post, all of this would have not happened.
I remember that post, and I remember when you three got together, and it was awesome. Like, feel like I was a witness to that, and I love it so much. I had known Wes, and then Martin, I think I had talked to you at one point as well. And then I remember y'all bringing Ash into the picture, and you three came together, and it was such a beautiful thing to witness. Because I think we, for so long we've built a LinkedIn community, right? And I think, Wes, you're one of the ones, all three of you are the ones that I think I followed along with throughout my entire 3 or 4 year time being on LinkedIn pretty actively. And it's just such a beautiful thing. And I think there's relationships that come out of things like this. That's the real stuff, right? And it doesn't happen all the time with every person, but for the ones that it does, I mean, it's like, those are the real people, and I love it.
And the real people are the ones that'll jump in your inbox and be like, you know what, I want to chat. I want to know these people. And that's I think being vulnerable pays off. It's like, let your guard down, be yourself, and you'll attract the right people. You'll attract the people that aren't going to abuse you. take advantage. They're going to understand and they're going to talk. You know,
And you know what, guys? Like, I think being vulnerable also means being real. You know, you don't have to wear a fucking mask all the time
Right.
and trying to be something else. I think it's corrosive if you're trying to be someone else. It will eat you alive. And again, going back to Ash and Wes and our story. You know, remember I was following Ash for a long time, and the first time I met him in person, he was exactly how he was online. And for me, I remember that, and that's not even that long ago. 5-6 years ago, maybe even less. It feels like a lifetime
It feels
now.
like, yeah.
It feels like we've been married for 45 years and just
Yeah,
looking at each
I had
other.
hair when we met him.
Yeah, but for me was one of the really first time, only time that I saw an online personality, because Ash was already big by then, being exactly the same online and offline, and I thought, shit, that's a thing.
Yeah.
You know, that there are actual real people doing content, doing influencers, whatever you want to call them, that actually on real life are the same. And I think that's priceless.
Yeah.
If you're able to connect that image with your real image,
Mm-hmm.
magic happens.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great when you pop onto a call with somebody and they're exactly what they look like and sound like.
Yeah.
You know, it's so refreshing, and that doesn't happen every time.
Yeah.
That's
All right.
good.
I guess we're going to wrap. It's coming up to the hour, guys.
What a lovely way to end a Friday.
Oh,
I
Honestly.
cry, by the way, at some point.
Oh, good. That's always the goal, right? Is a happy
Come on,
tear.
I cry all the time. Jesus.
I love it. That means I've done it right. If somebody cries, that's
Make Wes cry. Yeah.
yeah.
There's some great comments coming in finally through. Like, I love this kid Austin.
Yeah. Also,
Oh.
Millie, we need more humanity to erase the AI bullshit out there right now.
That's
And
right.
you're absolutely right. I think we are deprived by humanity now. And I think one thing that will increasingly become a superpower, like what you said, Elliot, before, is that like vulnerability and being ourselves I think it will become even more relevant. We fucking yearn for this, isn't it? We just want it.
We
AI
need it.
We need it.
Exactly.
We need it.
AI can't cry.
That's
I can't
right.
cry.
I do use an empathetic AI sometimes though, and that's an interesting. It's called Pi.ai.
Wow.
Pi.ai. It will talk to you. So if you open it on your browser, it speaks everything back to you, and you can filter the personality type that you want. They're all empathetic. It's very interesting.
Is that a personality type Wes? That's my favorite one.
Yeah, I bet he's on there.
Really good one. PeterParker.ai.
Well, it's a personality that the first time he will slap you, then he will hug you, and then will buy you a Guinness. All in like 3 minutes.
Less than that.
That could be a Guinness ad right there.
Elliot, you know what? There's loads of wicked comments in there, like
Yeah.
wicked, I mean good comments, like people loving you, and you've inspired people, you're helping people to be a bit more honest, and you've inspired people to look into this octopus, and you've inspired someone to go climb a tree as well. So
Go climb a tree.
job done.
That's it.
Jump in a mud. You know?
We don't do this at home and break your legs, but go and climb a tree. And I think
Go and climb a tree. Yeah. Be safe out there.
I think
Nothing that was said in this show can be used against you. Do not participate.
don't do it while drinking a Guinness or fighting off an octopus.
I'm so grateful for all of you. Thank you so much. Y'all are the best, and I enjoy spending time with y'all. Thank you.
That's so good.
Go enjoy your Friday off.
Elliot, that's from me. Keep doing you.
Keep doing you.
Exactly. See you later.
Take care.
Peace.
Bye.
Wow.
It's really good.
She's amazing.
Really good.
Amazing.
What a wicked conversation to end the week, man. Yeah, so I'm on at 11 now after that.
How are you?
But it was 1 to 99.9.
Like you didn't get the memo the first time.
Ash was in another life right now. Guys, thank you so much. If you enjoyed this, go check out the rest. We are on YouTube. Everything is recorded there. Don't forget to be yourself, right, Wes?
Just do you. That's the line. I tell you
Just
boys,
do
I tell everyone, just do you.
Just do you, everyone else is taken.
Exactly.